absorbing dive. We saw Elk get caught in the last fight, and didn't see Elk get involved to the point that Elk wanted to get involved in that last game. So, see if we get a different approach. Is Weibo going to be with first pick, NIP on the blue side? I assume they took that one in response, and Weibo does get access to that Vi, as that was freed up in draft. They've already taken away the Poppy, so first pick Vi. Gonna feel good for Weibo and Jiejie.
And other champions that are available, Cubby, Vayne and Varus are on the table for this game.
No Vayne yet. There's a Vi on my screen. We need more stuff before we see that. But Hoya has like the Varus. He has.
I'm just saying they're there.
Yes.
They're there.
Yeah,
It is playable.
The Fury's there too, as the Fury been a very high priority champion early on. The split of LPL been a lot of success here, as two of our highest priority junglers taken. Guwon's able to get done on that. We'll say some of the better pairings with Nefiri not on the board, as Ryze and TF would both feel good. But how about Assassin ×2 in the mid jungle for NIP, as a lock is going to get picked up for Care.
Come on, you didn't say lock getting locked in? You're not locked in, I guess. I don't know. But I like the combo here out of NIP. I especially like the Nefiri for Guwon. Remember, we saw early in the game the Trundle kind of doing a little bit of cardio, really wasn't able to get into these fights and make an impact. And I said in game 1 that I wanted to see Guwon on something that can get into a fight a lot easier. When you drop down that ultimate, it is so easy to go after a target from a decent distance. The early game pressure that you're going to be able to put down on this Vi if Weibo doesn't have hard winning lanes somewhere on the map is something to certainly watch out for, as we are flying through a couple of picks. It's Rumble Rel, which is a good combo, but then the Yorick to deal with the Rumble on the top side for NIP.
I think Rel makes life really difficult for both Locke and the Fury, so I like that pickup here for JWei. But these are a few champions that York's pretty happy to see in the top lane, so we'll see if Hoya is able to get any of that split push threat going, as he will be stronger than Rumble in the side lane, and is pretty tough for Vi and Rel to get sent towards the York, because those are champions that he doesn't mind seeing come to his lane. He can deal with those all right. So I think as we go through, going to be taking away some Vi pairings in the mid lane. No Ahri, and I think they're going to ban Akali probably as well, as that is one of the better matchups against Locke, and Akali plus Vi, pretty good combo.
Yeah, it's certainly not a bad one. Some other good options. Yanni being a good one. Could do that. Talia, we don't see her as much anymore, but still a viable combo. I recall she was picked, bot lane, I think, the last time we saw her.
Yeah.
So
see a few Talia bots.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be seeing that this game, and if we do, something has gone horribly, horribly wrong. Still awaiting the last ban here for NIP. It is going to be that Jhin, so getting rid of some extra utility. Cubby, do you think there's an opportunity maybe that Weibo just slams Misfortune into these two assassins and says, we'll just team fight better and we'll just have priority for a Vi to be protected in the early game?
Maybe. I don't associate that as much with a Photic champ. My guess is that if they're going to have any conversation right now, it's about Camille. We've seen Rel be a response to Camille, but it is up and available, and I think Camille can really help attack the side lane with Yorick. That said, Fengyue, looks like he's got a lot of thoughts about the champ that he's going to be picking up for himself. He's going to go to that Rakan, which is really good from him in the first series. Xayah Rakan was played by Photic and Fengyue. And honestly, setup here for Xayah is pretty good. I just get scared that Elk might be able to take a champion that can have range and threaten Xayah. My eyes honestly go towards... Kate Rel is not the best pairing, but I do like how Caitlyn plays into Xayah. I don't know if that's going to be the option this game, but I think that's actually part of why they took Jhin away, because they don't want to deal with... like Jhin can space Xayah later on, so Varus will get picked up. I think they're expecting the Xayah to come on out, so poke into the Xayah from the Varus will be good.
There's your little bit of range as we'll cycle through a couple champions here that are not looking like they'll go in the mid lane, but honestly, Cubby, at this point in the meta, we are really in an anything's possible meta. It is a deep champion pool paradise, but there are just the regular options that we're hovering that we talked about earlier. It is that going to be that Talia. A little bit of global presence. You've got good damage elsewhere. You'll have sustained damage later on. Solid pick for Weibo Gaming to round out this composition, and it's not going to be the Xayah Rakan combo. It's going to be the Sivir for the late game insurance policy onto Photic.
Yeah, I think once you see the Varus, the Xayah doesn't become quite as appealing. So I also think that Sivir's going to have a lot of trouble auto-attacking in this game. So see if Weibo can make that happen. I really feel like for NIP, what I like about their draft is that Naafiri and Locke, they bring a lot of damage, but there's a real lack of utility on this NIP side. I think that we got to put a lot of focus on what Fengyue can do in these fights, because playing Rakan as kind of solo engage here, like, yes, Naafiri can go in, but, I mean, if he goes in alone, that's pretty tough. I think that you got to navigate the rocks, you got to navigate the Rel in terms of finding these engages. I think that's a really difficult task for a Rakan that's on a team that's kind of lacking some engage, but we'll see if he can create those moments, because really feel like NIP, they brought the damage this game, but utility's missing. And Weibo have that pretty tried and true Wombo combo where it might be difficult for Sivir to auto-attack, but they also might have issues navigating this Yorick Naafiri lock topside, which does bring a ton of damage to the table.
Cubby, you're forgetting one thing. The best CC in this game right here. Yorick Dark Procession onto a Rumble, onto a Talia, or onto a Varus. All of those champions, they have a tough time getting out of that. Sure, it's only a couple auto attacks, but that little bit of time that it takes to get out could be the difference maker in a fight. Game 2, NIP, Weibo Gaming, coming at you.
Right,
Cubby, we might not see a lot of fireworks around it, but one thing that we have to talk about is how strange these bot lanes are in terms of the players and all of their journeys. We talked about the supports a little bit earlier, but one thing that we have to talk about is the combo that we once had over on the side of IG with Photic and JWei, both on the same side at one point. And now they've got their new bot lane pairings here in Split 3. Really potential all-pro candidates on either side, with JWei getting paired with Elk and Photic getting paired with Fengyue. I think that is, you know, from being on the same team to being at this point, even though you're in Group Nirvana, you got a pretty solid teammate beside you in the lane.
You do. I'd love to spend more time talking about the bot lane duos. We have to talk about jungle right now because we have a trade of camps going on. Guwon did walk over a ward on his way to try and split the map, but a potential very, at least early pressure. I don't think that Rel's diveable, so this is rather fake, but kind of an interesting jungle scenario going on here. As curious if Naafiri is going to be able to get back and answer any of these respawn camps. If not, could see Naafiri behind in the long haul, and honestly, Guwon sticking around. Are we actually looking for a dive? This is tough to do. Dropping aggro, Naafiri's nice, but Rel's scary to dive.
All right, let's see if they can get it done, Cubby. What's JWei going to do to try to stop this one? Elk trying to put on the dancing shoes of flash away. Guwon is going to go on targetable flash forward and get first blood. He takes tower shot on the way out and falls to JWei. Ends up being a 1-for-1, but here comes Xiaohu looking to cause some problems with Photic and Fengyue. There's that unraveled earth doing just enough to slow them up. Looks like Photic might be able to escape. Fengyue has got to burn that flash. And over on the top side,
huge!
He's caught the Dark Procession and he's dead, and it's Care getting the kill. I told you the Dark Procession was gas.
That was a huge response from NIP, because honestly, it stops Guwon from getting behind as Jiejie gets caught out on the top side. And yeah, I mean, I don't think they can answer the Raptors. At least Guwon can't, but can take that top crab, can maybe look for a second. He's going to at least poke his head in there first. But really big, I mean, taking Elk out, getting the TP doesn't fall too far behind, but that is something in favor of the ADs as we get a second look at how they caught Jiejie. Again, Hoya knows that the Vi's on this side because it's a split map scenario. Great slow connects, and the flash gets dropped. Flash response from both solo laners to shut down the jungler of Weibo and make sure their own jungler doesn't fall too far behind.
And Care getting that one. Now he's got double buffs. I mean, we've seen this lock champion. If you've seen it in your games, you know it's liable to snowball at any time with the way that it's so easy for him to pick up kills and get so strong. The AP vein, as I like to think of him, will have plenty of opportunities to deal some very serious damage in this game.
Yeah, I actually really want to see how Care plays with Lock, because that E, it's a blink. So the blink will get you out of the rocks, but then the auto attack, where you get like the bonus range, is a dash after. That's where he's going to have to be careful, because the blink can get you out of some stuff and won't get tagged up by the rocks, but the dash will. So really interested to see how both players play around that rather new interaction in the game for our newest champion, Hit the Rift.
So crazy, they released a pretty new champion and they released League Classic almost shortly after. You know, it's the duality is kind of odd there.
You know, as a throwback to Wigs, Yanni, you just get the best of both worlds.
You know what? You are absolutely right, my friend. Cannot believe that Hannah Montana has been referenced twice.
I am
on this stream.
I am locked in.
All right, teleport coming down on the bottom side. And it looks like NIP are going to go for it. Elk immediately blown up. And again, the escape for NIP this time is cleaner.
No response from Weibo as the TP was used by Xiaohu, but to no avail. Elk gets shut down again, and man, it really feels like a zone defense to target the best player on Weibo so far, as Elk has been the victim of NIP's attention early on.
I think they're playing prevent defense, Cubby. They just give them everything and say, okay, hopefully we won't lose.
I was more basketball brains.
Me and my dad hate prevent.
I respect prevent. Yeah, I mean, prevent defense is the equivalent to parking the bus, if we're going to be honest.
Yeah, it is the NFL version of parking the bus.
It is parking the bus. Parking the bus did work for NIP, of course, in that first one. But Weast Dragon picked up here early as Jiejie taking advantage of the power of the Vine. The Dent blows.
Good look there from the NIP support, but not too much more to be had. Maiden is out here, and it is time to drain Zika once he gets into range, as Guwon is heading up top. This man has been so active, so much more active than he was on the Trundle. That equalizer going down means
doesn't get the full wave.
I'm really well aware that something's going on. Meanwhile, JWei is getting run down here by Photic, and now they're going to turn their sights on to Elk. Elk is going to get one kill on the way out. Jiejie charging up that cube, but Photic is going to flash forward and make sure he secures this one. It's a double kill. The only problem is Vi can punch a little bit harder than you could throw those boomerangs at this point in the game. It's a good spell shield, and the teleport with the turnaround means that Photic, it's not a true triple, but it's still 3 all the same.
Oh boy, Photic's trying to show his ex that, you know, the ex is missing out on all that right now. JWei is on the losing side. Who won the breakup? And Photic looking real good here at 3-0-2. And of all people to get fed early, Yanni, you're feeding a Sivir early. It's the dream late game scenario, but also your ability to delete those waves and cheat your way out of the matchup is real. As we saw the equalizer, it was good but not perfect. Enough of the wave lived where they were able to convert this dive onto Zika. And then on the flip side, Fengyue...
This is beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, the short grand entrance, we saw the JWei had used cooldowns early. Yes, Elk's able to clean this up. But the Sivir, just with the lethal tempo going, and the early kills onto Elk, setting him behind, able to win out the DPS war. And on the retreat, again, Sivir, as long as you're hitting your autos and your abilities, you get that free move speed on the passive. Really helped by the space from the Vi, who did not yet have access to 6. And gets walked down by Photic, who now has a big lead and honestly has to be the focus of our game. As I would have loved to talk about that, Yanni, but that replay went long because we are in a pause.
What do you think we're pausing for here, Cubby? If you could describe the pause in one way.
You know, the one nice part about being on the unofficial broadcast is that we technically can mention bugs. That's something that Riot doesn't love. I don't know how much details I want to give the fans at home. I don't want to break the allure of that, but just can't really talk about bugs in the official broadcast. I'd guess it's a bug, but I'm going to hope it's not. And it's something a little bit smaller than that. Yanni is, of course, we're in the dark whenever we have pauses, but so far, I mean, this is a series coming in where NIP is looking like the better team. We felt like that after the early series we had seen from these teams, with Weibo falling to IG and NIP putting together a rather convincing 2-0. But NIP, I think, again, when you look at these names on paper, you would expect Weibo to be better given the pedigree they have on the roster. But NIP's been the better team on the year. They're really showing up again to prove that in split 3 on this matchup today.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that Photic is doing so much in this particular game. You know, not so magical journey for him. Split 1 on this powered down IG roster. Split 2 OMG went winless. He's played 20 series before this split with NIP. 4 wins and 16 losses. You know, good on these lane priority champions, but with like the meta shifts, there's a lot of questions on how much he would contribute to the team. But he is contributing the most right now at 3-0-2. When I mean, this is a sublime performance. That fight was just so well played by him, and it's really nice to see that a player who, you know, did not have the greatest first and second split, doesn't matter, can come through here in split 3 on a team that can revitalize him a little bit. Whenever that happens, it feels like the player who gets that opportunity, they raise their game. It's not just the team around them, but they individually raise their game.
You always got, you know, Photic just had to show up and prove that he got the better end of the breakup. That's what it's all. You got to raise your game for that, Yanni. I feel like that's what Photic's coming in here to prove. But hey, 3-0-2 again.
Raise your game.
I think Sivir is one of the most dangerous champions to get ahead like this early, because your ability to hit the wave, delete them, and cheat your way out of this matchup, it's very real. So this is a lead that can grow exponentially for Photic, as nearly has an Essence Reaver complete already and already powering up a Cole, which always feels good on Sivir. So yeah, this is a game that's looking extremely NIP favored early, and kind of alleviating some of our concerns about the potential lack of utility on the team, because everyone's going to be coming into these fights with enough damage to get through them.
Yeah, felt like the Assassins and Guwon and Care were going to build the bridge to get Photic there, and Photic just decided, don't worry, guys, I'll build the bridge with you. Everything's fine. We'll get over there. We'll get a quick 2-0 victory over Weibo Gaming. For Weibo, it seems like it's going to be quite tough. I look at their composition. I'm not too excited about their scaling. There is a world where they wombo combo their ultimates and really roast NIP. I think that's the one way to come back here.
It's gotta be wombos, you know, like Vi, Taliyah, Varus. There's so much setup for Xiaohu, and he does have the ability to at least try and cheat some waves. I just think it's really tough playing Taliyah. I know the rocks have value in the walk, but playing Taliyah into Assassins can be dangerous. The Xiaohu maybe looking to go down bot. Grub's being hit and does have an angle to look against Photic.
Yeah, well, Photic already used that spell shield, and he is very low and is dead. Elk is forced to flash away. Care will blink forward, and he sends Elk straight to purgatory. It's a double kill for Care, and Fengyue is going to pick up the last one. It is a 3-for-1 on the turnaround.
I mean, attacking Sivir there, I think that's the right call for Weibo, but the response just better from NIP, as Fengyue really helped to execute that. Now on the flip side, they saw numbers bot, so the dive comes in top. Does get the equalizer out, so Zika escapes, but a decent chunk, and Grub secured for NIP. So really, this gets equalized, because this is a shutdown on the Photic. Really like what Fengyue tries to do here, which is catch the ult coming in from Elk. Yeah, he gets in front of the Chains of Corruption. Of course, the bounce and the Blight stacks that Elk had stacked up early does still make sure the kill connects onto the Sivir, but that last tower shot got him so low, it really enabled Care to step in. One of the Qs hit. That means that the slow comes in, makes the Purgatory easy to connect, as Fengyue with the Quickness Grand Entrance combo on JWei cleans that one up, sends the old relationship back into the dust, and keeps NIP ahead.
New phone tick, who this? Is NIP up 3,000 gold here at the 10-minute mark. Dragon coming up in 20 seconds here. Just to say again, Dragon of the game at this point. Oh no, we're gonna go right after Xiaohu, who is forced to use that Weaver's Wall to escape. But NIP always scrappy, looking for a fight, with Care being as strong as he is right now. Those ritual nails stacking up those damage. The Dragon being up, looks like it's NIP's for the taking.
What are we saying?
Listen, I am a volume shooter when it comes to wordplay jokes like that, and they don't always land. They don't always land. Sometimes they do, and they're great. And that one sounded good in my head. And as soon as I said it, I said, yeah, I'm going to either get roasted by the chat for that one, or I'm going to get roasted by Prod for that one.
I didn't see getting roasted by Prod for that one. I think that's a new feature, not a bug, though. I did like that one. Meanwhile, Hoya doing a nice job of avoiding getting roasted on the top side, as he has been up against Zika so far. Pressure has been on the Rumble, and the 3-grub empowered Yorick. That's definitely something that Weibo is going to have to deal with later on, because Trinity Force is early coming in for Hoya. And if you get ahead of the game as Yorick, it feels so good. Ability to try and pressure the map with the grubs is right now looking to be pressured by JWei. JJ?
Yeah, Weibo Gaming sending everybody up to the top side here. Hoya is going to chase JWei off. JJ is going to be able to secure that Gromp. Dragon going to go over the side to NIP, and Guwon's going to do the same thing on the opposite side of the map.
JJ still sticking around, but not going to get enough. As Guwon, I really feel like he's really started to power through this matchup. I was kind of paying attention to all the action for NIP, and with a lot of it going down, I did not realize that Guwon's up like 5 camps. Or 6, 7 camps on JJ. That's a lot.
How many camps? That's a lot of camps.
Photic
and Guwon going to finish off this turret here. It's going to be first turret of the game going over to NIP as their gold lead increases to just over 4,000. A very similar position that they're in to Weibo in the last game, but we've talked about this NIP comp. You got the late game, you got the assassin play. Everybody is strong right now. Feels like as long as they don't do anything too crazy here, Cubby, should be smooth sailing.
Right. It really feels like NIP is won the majority of games. Like 3 out of 4 games I've seen from NIP, they're winning with early moves, and a lot of this is coming from Guwon and Fengyue. And that's, for me, is a really exciting sign moving forward, just with how this jungle support's playing together. So I do think it's a really different meta, with mages being bot really frees people up to move. And we have seen this new support for NIP really step in and synergize well with Guwon, who... Man, Guwon's off to a great start this split. I think that has to be talked about, too.
Okay. Well, we were finding a quick pick potentially, but anyway, is able to hop out and keep himself upright. So Weibo had a look. They took their shot, unable to convert. And it feels like the more and more of those slip away, the more desperate this team will become. They're staring an 0-2 start in the face, Cubby. We talked about it at the top of the show. A loss here puts them at 0-2. The team that we thought they were going to contest the second spot with in NIP would be 2-0 and have a big win over them. With just only 4 games remaining, you know, their season is 33% of the way done after this game for both of these teams. And it's such a huge mountain to climb if you go out. Oh, Xiaohu is down. Oh, hold on. Xiaohu is a lot. Hold on. JJ stops him. I thought for a second he was going to go down, but he manages to stay alive. Now we have a teleport coming in on the backside for this Rumble. This is going to be a little bit late, but Zika's got that big shield. Kara will be able to slide out with that Ashen Pursuit.
Yeah, some good interactions there from Weibo to make sure that they at least keep their mid laner and captain alive, but they're paying the price in the bot lane as the Grub-empowered Yorick push with the Maiden is going to pretty much knock down the turret by itself, and Zika, well, he's got a flash that's going to have to be burned here.
Yeah, and by the way, there was a teleport forced out of Xiaohu as well. So we are teleporting just to defend. We try the aggressive look. It doesn't work. It's another play where Weibo Gaming are desperate for something to try to turn this game around, and they're not getting it. That gold lead just increasing steadily over time. Guwon's going to pick up this Rift Herald. We're going to have the next Dragon in a minute and 20 seconds. And Weibo Gaming cannot win a straight-up fight against an IP.
I think any fight win, it's got to come down to, again, good ult usage or fighting on the rocks. I do want to give Xiaohu some credit for how he used the rocks in that top fight. We saw him drop him backwards, so that lock auto attack, that's where the dash comes in, right? The E is a blink, and then your empowered auto attacks the dash, and the dash is where you get hit by the rocks, whereas the blink you can get around it. So that, and then a good Q from Jiejie did help save Xiaohu from going down. But that's the best case scenario right now for Weibo. They're that far behind. And when you get this far behind as a team that really wants to team fight, makes life harder.
Okay, we're getting the Varus ult out here, but we're just going to take the blast plant, and now JWei is dead.
Yeah.
Herald is going to crash here in the mid lane, get some nice plate gold over. A little bit of extra damage using those little Twitch chatters, I like to call them, to take down that turret as Hoya continues to do his thing on the side lane. This Yorick has been unanswered.
It's looking like Ben out there with the side lane Yorick push.
Maybe VLG should have picked him up. Yeah, we're gonna hit the go button here with the on the hunt. Selk is caught in the corner, but he'll be okay. And NIP just using that for a little bit of damage, and we'll fade back to the dragon potentially.
Really no pressure on NIP to even pressure the dragon. They don't have to. If Hoya's getting this much work done on the side lane, you can't really push any more on this side, but they could shift him up top and drop this and try and get power. That said, they have the power now, and now that they see Xiaohu spotted on the top side, means this dragon does go over to them. I mean, everything gets thrown into the shield. And, oh, it was Elk. Oh. Yeah, they really did him like that.
Yeah, you know what? Elk was jealous of what Photic had going on the other side and said, you know what? Love bites.
We've spent some time, like, trying to show which side of the relationship, won the breakup. And that's Elk just being like, you can have him back if you want. Take him back if it matters that much to you. Sends his support to his own demise. And sadly, that kind of sums up the day for Weibo's. Weibo's looked really flat tonight. We have not...
Yeah.
I mean, it was a 5k gold lead or a 3k gold lead. They were up 5-0, where I just don't think the comp worked out into what was shown early for NIP. Again, that's a first pick Cassio that you go full dive into. I think that there are some valid criticisms and critiques of that, given you kind of know what Cassio's identity is early on. It's been one of my big critiques of early pick Cassios. I feel like you kind of pigeonhole yourself into the type of comp you want to play. Weibo picked right into that. And then this game, look, I thought the draft was okay this game for Weibo, sincerely, but this bot lane focus for NIP and just what we've seen out of Guwon, I really feel like Guwon needs to be talked about so far as one of the best players we've seen in Group Nirvana so far. And Guwon, for me, was the key to this team. And their success in Split 2 was kind of whether he was on or off. Because I do feel like NIP were playing for a lot of these invades early on. Guwon is active on the map, and if it worked out, it was good. If not, things were bad. But to see him play this well early on with Fengyue and sync up as new teammates, and in a meta that I feel like it kind of sits better for how Guwon and NIP were already playing, and then see Guwon be more consistent and how well he's cashing this in. It's leading to a great start for NIP, and as concerned as you are for the 0-2 start for Weibo being a third of your way done with the Group Nirvana regular season split, or that double round robin, NIP is sitting at 2-0. I mean, they're, in theory, one win away from guaranteeing the fact that, they're almost out of this group, or it could be close. 3 is a number that, in theory, could get you out.
Yeah, if you're a neutral fan, you have to be equally as excited for NIP as disappointed as you are in Weibo. And, no lies detected about your call of Guwon being one of the better players in the group. I think he is likely the best jungler in the group. I think he's probably performing like it as well.
Has been so far. Yeah, has been so far.
But in terms of players, be hard pressed to find too many other players that are really and truly that impactful for their teams, like the way Guwon is for Ninjas in Pyjamas. As it's just a matter of trying to get over the finish line and get out of this pause. For the other side, for Weibo, Cubby, just feels like their success most of the time has come from Jiejie being active early, and when his laners can support his moves. This is the risk that you run when you pick a Vi early on. Now, obviously, he got caught on the crab. He was invading, but with the way the lanes kind of shook out that part of the game, there's a reason why he got pinched by Care and why Xiaohu was not able to assist.
Yeah, I mean, that is an opener that, like, was kind of made by Guwon. The response just wasn't good enough from Jiejie. As I know that at least the pinch that came in was... Yeah, you can argue that he stayed too long, but also you can argue that if he doesn't stick around, like, you're just going to be straight up behind. So I think that's kind of the balance you need to have, and a little bit surprised that... I think, if anything, Wolves are just the toughest camp to get to if you're invading.
Yeah.
It's the most protected camp, so maybe you take that away before you do Grand Blue. I think that's the one real conversation to have, but outside of that, I do want to chalk it up to good play from NIP is getting back into the action.
Classic red buff invade that many teams have been punished at. It's funny, we're going to get taken down to about half HP, but no worse for wear otherwise. Take a look at kill participation for both of these guys, sitting at 73%, 3-1 and 5 for Photic, 1-1 and 7 for his support as the brand new bot lane for NIP, just hitting the ground running as we've talked about. It's been a treat to watch, and we hope that they keep it up, because with the way NIP was in Split 2 and Ascend, it was exciting. It was a team that could take games off of some of the best. It was a team that did beat BLG in the regular season. When you have a team like that, upstarts that can make things exciting, can shake things up, push the status quo a little bit, it's good for everybody. It's good for the league. It's good for fans.
I think it's been good to just see, like, Karen and Hoya have a better year this year than what we've seen in the past. I think both of them are on ups this year. Karen more so in I'd say recent form rather than what we've seen out of him for the year, because I was a fan of FBX Care in last year's Split 2. Thought he was playing well, but yeah, I think that, again, a lot of kudos just need to go over this NIP squad, because a lot of their identity from last split, we talked about Guwon, but the other part of that, it was awesome in the bot lane. And for Photic to step in and step up, make it look like, you know, there's a V5 in front of his name instead of an NIP. That's been really impressive for me as well, as we might be in trouble here.
Chains of Corruption not going to land. He is still very much in trouble.
He's going down.
He does pop the quickness. He's going to flash forward just to try to get to Hoya and hop his way out, but Jiejie sticking on top of Hoya and Xiaohu with the Weaver's Wall. It is a 2-for-0 play for Weibo Gaming, and NIP left scrambling to pick something up.
It's going to be kills, but it will be the mid-inner turret going over to NIP. Bot outer will fall for Weibo, but I think that's, in the end, a tad bit of a nothing burger. Good for Weibo to get some gold back in their pockets, but just an oopsie for NIP. I think that was the warning mission before the Dragon setup really coming out, and Fengyue just kind of caught off guard. We'll be able to respawn and control this side of the map still in favor of NIP, as we are 90 seconds away from a Chemtech Dragon spawning. Will be soul point available for NIP. As Weibo will look to deny that and even up the scoreboard. And yeah, I mean, the wombo combo for Weibo, I'm really looking out for how they play around the rocks and where the flick comes in. I think that if rocks are up and they fight on rocks, then it's playable for Weibo. Again, Fengyue, it's a lot of pressure on him to engage. And those rocks can make life really difficult for Rakan. I do think that there are a lot of elements that can make life difficult for Rakan in this game, but the lead is so big that, again, any conversational lack of utility for NIP, we're not really that worried about, because they have the gold to back up the damage their champions are bringing to the Rift, and so far Weibo have not been able to deal with that.
Like you mentioned, things might get hard for Fengyue in this next fight. He is missing his flash.
Yeah.
After that last that gaff by the NIP support, so it'll be a little bit harder to get that quickness off. Does have the ghost, so he will be zooming around in close quarters.
I really would not...
Gaming won't be caught by surprise.
Oh, hold on. Oh, that is so bold.
This is Jiejie going over the wall, losing a decent bit of HP just 25 seconds before the objective.
Yeah, they see Hoya top, so they kind of roughly knew they were up a man. But that was a bold dash in. I would not be surprised, or would honestly kind of like to see from Weibo. I know it sounds weird, but if they could one-shot the Rakan, I do think that Weibo or NIP might have difficulty fighting without Rakan. Because Rakan's the one thing that can get them in. As it looks like they're going to drop this fight to the wayside and try and threaten Baron's side. But this should be... Yeah, this should just be Dragon given over. As Photic gets the wave, Guwon's on the Dragon, and Weibo going to respect the power of NIP here.
We did talk about the only other CC really being that Dark Procession out of Hoya.
Yeah.
Obviously, Photic can use On the Hunt to get Kara and Guwon in there a little bit faster. There's a very valid ultimate for these two assassins. So there's still some ease to get in there, but it is just much more predictable. And Weibo Gaming can kind of try and sidestep that, but that's maybe for an objective later down the line. The dragon went over to...
I don't know if it's worth burning a cease and desist for, like Violets, but I can see a world where if you shut down the Rakan, like how can NIP really choose a fight of their own outside of pressing Thrill to Hunt and running at you? And that's not a great combo. I mean, yes, the Fury can get in there, but the Fury alone is not enough. So, kind of why I'm
there's the quickness,
Rakan.
and Jiejie is knocked up, and he is stuck in the Dark Procession. He will use that cease and desist. Hoya getting down to about half HP as teleports are coming in. There's that equalizer. Hoya cannot heal up through it. Okay. He will go down, and the Maiden will fall as well. So, well, Jiejie does have to turn back to heal. Still 5v4 on the map.
A little bit surprised that Hoya fell there. I was kind of unsure about that start of the fight for Jiejie, as I really felt like he was going to go down. But Xiaohu coming in with the combo was clutch, and of course, Rumble ult over the top, the sealed fate of the Yorick. So, again, a reprieve, but just given how far behind Weibo is, it feels like they always have to burn more tools to find these picks, and don't have enough to really carry that man advantage and turn it into anything else. But would still like to see them kind of focus this Rakan, because in theory, I still think this is a difficult game for Rakan to really find the engage and the backline, if that's kind of the focus of Weibo, to shut down that person from getting in.
And the longer it takes, the more items that Weibo actually gets in their inventories. Sure, this is a team that, you know, its composition is not exactly known for their late game prowess. The fight goes really long later on. Xiaohu can pump out a lot of damage with the threaded volley, but you know, Elk is on pretty much full lethality right now. So he is going to spike once his tier item is completed. That is a solid 3-item spike for himself, despite how poorly the game has gone. But it does feel like a matter of time if Weibo Gaming cannot stop Fengyue.
Guwon's actually going to kick this off. 230 away from the Dragon and Hoya's bot, so maybe seeing if they can pull any tools or resources out. That said, blue trinket from Elk was used. That control ward in the pit is spotted by Weibo, and that will be enough to bring NIP off the Baron, but means Hoya gets a little bit more free time in that bot lane to start putting the work down, and Weibo, they've got no answer for the Yorick, and next time around, when that Baron gets hit, I think going to be a little bit more pressure on Weibo now that Hoya is actually set up.
It feels like the answer is send 4 people and hope that NIP don't do the Baron afterward. Getting a little bit closer to a Chemtech Soul for NIP, 1 minute and 45 seconds. We'll see if Weibo can keep the game at this state for right now. You know, with how bad the early part of this game had gone, really outside of the last 7 or so minutes. I think Weibo pretty thankful to be in a spot like this. He's gonna get Guwon's untargetability out. It's pretty important.
Yeah, I was about to say, you
still
could have maybe looked after, but
kind of surprised he didn't.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a big cooldown they got out. Next cease and assist could have went on, and that could have been their way in. But Weibo going to be disciplined, at least holding the line. You have to respond to the waves that Photic owns, and no one's responding to that bot wave, which Hoya owned previously. So, with 1 minute away from the Dragon spawning, and IP going to start this one off now that Xiaohu's spotted bot. And yeah, can they get here in time? That's the question.
All right. Weibo trying to walk in blind.
They can't.
Holding the front line very well. We'll be able to slide out. Baron secured for NIP. Jiejie might want to fight, but he is immediately taken low. The Purgatory goes down, but look at JWei on the back line doing everything he can, but the health bars of Weibo Gaming are just dropping. It's a double kill for Photic. It's a triple kill for Photic, and there's some low members nearby. He is going to back off and not go for it. And when all's said and done, it is a 3-for-1 in favor of NIP with the Baron at their backs.
Strength of NIP reigning supreme. Weibo went for the engage, but again, their tools were split. That equalizer from Zika dropped early because it was more to threaten the Baron being taken itself. Doesn't really get value. Fengyue keeping everyone out of the pit to the best of his abilities. That was enough. He sidestepped the chains of corruption. And those are two big ults that were used for naught. And when JWei gets in for the combo, the flip and the Magnet Storm kind of didn't interacted weird, I should say, over the rocks. And not sure if like they were pulling each other out, and I didn't really see the stun on the rocks. That was a little bit of a funky interaction there, as it looked like the W was, pushing them towards Xiaohu, and of course Magnet Storm brings everyone into JWei. But that big damage on the combo didn't connect, and from there, they went for the DPS fight, which they can't do. This needs to be about poking and playing on rocks. When the E is up for Toya, Weibo can play fights, and they can use their big ultimates to try and find big wins. But they can't fight the DPS wars against Photic and Hoya. So, fight goes pretty convincing the way of NIP. They got the soul, and Yanni, we're looking at a quick 2-0.
NIP working the crumbled part of Weibo's base. A couple more auto attacks on that inhibitor will take it down. Weibo need to find an angle somewhere. They may have found it in the mid lane as Care has to try to slide out. He'll flash away and avoid the chains of corruption on top of it. As this bottom inhibitor will fall, the pressure still on heavy from NIP, as now they're going to escort a wave into the mid lane turret here as Fengyue going to go all in on Zika, blow him up instantly. The exhausted Elki's forced to flash away as JWei cannot hold the front line as desperately as he tried. A double kill for Photic, and the base is crumbling.
Really feels like 2 series in a row where NIP has done a better job at diagnosing their win cons early and playing towards them throughout the game. This has been a convincing 2-0 over Weibo Gaming.
Now they just need to dot the I's and cross the T's. One turret left standing here, 5v3. Jiejie goes in, and you just see the chunks coming out. It's Guwon picking that one up, and the Nexus will fall. NIP take a 2-0 victory over Weibo Gaming.
Sitting atop Group Nirvana, as it has been a great start for the new look NIP. I mean, honestly, firing at all cylinders. Guwon looks more consistent this split. The way that he's syncing up with Fengyue looks even better for NIP this split than it did last split with Awesome and JWei. And this is a really competitive Group Nirvana with some big brands that are looking to escape this group. NIP off to the best start out of all of them as they sit 4-0 with 2 series wins.
And on the other side, Cubby, it is not great for Weibo Gaming. Now 0-2. And left with more questions than answers at this point. You would think that the team of Zika, Jiejie, Xiaohu, Elk, and JWei would be able to take down this NIP squad and maybe not even be in Group Nirvana, but things are just not working. I don't know what needs to change, but it has to be something. And frankly, I don't know if moving Moham in over JWei is the answer.
Yeah, we hinted at BOG Hoya more than Weibo Moham, which seems far more likely to actually happen out of the two.
He's already signed, brother.
Yeah, exactly. He's actually already signed. He's already on the roster. I don't know if that's the difference. This really just felt like NIP was the team that looks like they came in playing as 5 and knowing what win cons they wanted to play and how. And for Weibo, those 2 games, it just didn't really feel like they got to play the game the way they wanted to. I mean, they were up early, but I think the full dive into the Casio comp really did not pay off. The fights they took, they weren't able to really get their carries involved. And then when they got behind, Elk was forced to go in early, and that didn't feel good against the Casio team. And then game 2, Photic and Guwon blew that game up early. I mean, Guwon finding the 2 dives into Elk, and then Photic winning out on that giant skirmish to sit 3-0-2 on Sivir. That is such an oppressive champion to go up against when Sivir gets ahead, because again, those stats go into deleting waves faster, absorbing more resources so that you can scale hard and get to the point of no return sooner. It's exactly what Photic did in that game, as he got quite big early on, and I'm sure we're going to feel more of his presence in the damage chart, as it really felt like he was able to put down the damage. But like, where was Weibo's foothold into that game? It really didn't exist, and I think that was a bit of a stinker of a series from at least Zika in game 1, a bit in game 2, but also Jiejie just didn't really have an impact in this series. And That is not something we're used to seeing out of that player historically. I think we've seen it a little bit more so. It's been more common lately compared to what we expect for him throughout his career. But this is not a Weibo team that we have a lot of confidence in to at least have a chance to compete for the playoffs moving forward. It really does feel like this is a bottom 2 team right now in Group Nirvana.
Yeah, I think the biggest question is, you know, can they beat LNG at this point? We were like, oh, they'll make top 2, right? And can NIP beat Weibo Gaming? And now it's like, is Weibo Gaming maybe the worst team in this group? Like,
no, that's still going to be LNG. But we'll see. LNG has a chance to prove that up next. So that's going to be the next matchup.
Oh, well, LNG
not
next
be, tonight.
Yeah,
but
yes.
On the schedule.
The next Nirvana matchup. Yeah. We understand, Cubby. Don't you worry. The next matchup is going to be a fun one. EDG and WE is going to be a banger. So we can take a look at the schedule here. As you can see, a little bit ways down the line, it's going to be on Sunday. LNG's going to take on IG. This one, you know, tall mountain to climb. We have to zoom that one in for Cubby specifically. So he knows
30 now.
when this is happening.
Yeah,
I'm older than you, brother. I'm 31. How do I not need this?
You know, maybe we both do, Yanni. I can throw myself under the bus whenever I want. Sometimes got to ask permission from a peer before I can do that. Listen, I'm no longer parking the bus. I am driving the bus right over you. Just as NIP drove the bus right over Weibo Gaming. Let us have our whimsy. That actually, I did not mean that. I was doing mental math.
Yeah, okay, buddy.
I said 5 camps first, and it was a 30 CS gap. And so, you know, 5 times 4, that's not it. I had to go closer to, we had to go up
6
there a little bit.
Or 7.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Cubby.
It was subtle until it wasn't.
True. All right.
But I appreciate that, you know.
Who's our MVP for not only this game, but the series?
It's got to be Photic, because I thought it was Photic MVP game 1, and Photic was, I think, probably MVP for the series.
He got a couple votes, right? In game 1?
Yeah. If it's Guwon for this game, I'm okay with that, but then it doesn't feel like they can give... if Guwon's player of the series, I think that's okay, because it'd be double Pog in a player of the series, but... by the way, that Trundle win, we threw it in a translator, and the AI is pretty much like...
Would you like to?
Let me read it.
The class.
Despite being pressured in the early game, he managed to tear through his opponent's defenses from the mid-game onwards thanks to the Troll King's tankiness. Whether it was his crucial damage absorption and kills in the Dragon Soul fight, or his sustained pursuit after the Baron fight, his near-perfect survivability and comprehensive team contributions made him the most solid cornerstone for the team's comeback. So pretty much, he took a good champion that was tanky and hit smites, is what the AI just told me.
Honestly, true.
I trust my brain a bit more. The only algorithms I trust are tax. You know, that's it. That's the only one I put stock into.
Take a look at the damage chart as it just went off the screen. Photic leading the way. No surprise there. Everybody generally having a pretty solid game on NIP. Hoya's scoreline not reflective of the game and the work that he put in on those side lanes. So honorable mention to him as everybody else kind of smurfed when it came to their KDAs.
Need a structure damage chart for see Hoya's impact in this game is 3 grubs. I will say if you get grubs, the impact of grubs greater as an individual rather than grouped up scenarios. So feels big for Hoya on a champion like the Yorick, as we're going to get another look at that Photic 2v3. As again, this was an elk that was already 0-2 coming into this fight. So really feel like the early work that NIP put into finding those dives was executed really well with Rakan and the Fury. Definitely available for them. It's really well played. And yeah, I mean, Photic from here was sitting 3-0-2. And I mean, the focus coming back here for Weibo, this is the right play or the right call to answer that dive back when Photic's down flash. But the answer from Kara was better, as I was able to get out of the rocks there from Xiaohu and got involved on the brand new champion Alak. Found the double kill, turned this play around, and ensured that NIP had the lead, and NIP did not look back from here.
Yeah, that one fight just kind of broke it open. You know, obviously Care, you know, 4 kills on the lock. Not really a crazy amount, but didn't have to, right? There wasn't very many times where these two teams were really fighting each other. It was NIP going in and you know, getting a 1 or 2 picks, but no straight up 5v5s because Weibo were just unable to do so. This is a team that, you know, they had a lot of pick potential with their mid jungle duo that we didn't see any plays executed on really. They had the Wombo combo with the Rumble and the Rel. I think we saw it one time and it was already too late at that point. Just feels like a team that has ideas of what they want to do in the draft, but can't quite put them together when they're on the Rift.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the cause for concern has been there for Weibo for a lot of the year, but I feel very concerned about where this team's at right now, given that we might see a different support play for them in the next series. And I think regardless of which support played in this game, it just doesn't feel like this is a team that's playing League of Legends together. Really didn't see Weibo get into this series. I do think that, in particular, JWei probably had the worst series for the squad. Also, didn't really feel Zika's impact a lot in this series either. So, if I had to like look at a part of the map that I was concerned about in the series, it'd probably be the top side.
Yeah.
But
they ran out of
regardless
gas
of that,
early, Cubby. They ran out of gas in the middle of game 1.
Regardless of that, though, I mean, this is just not a team that's playing League of Legends together. And you got to win or lose this game playing as 5. I think League, at its best, it's when all 5 players are playing well together. And that together part is difficult. And does not... It really has seemed to be the problem for Weibo all year. Is how well they play League together. Because we haven't felt that from them this year.
Keep making changes in the support role. Changes might need to be made elsewhere. We don't know if we're going to see any of those before the end of 2026. This might be a 2027 project. Photic going to get your player of the game. Unsurprisingly, we're quite whelmed by that. So he had a really fantastic game. Had that great play down on the bottom side. Does exactly what you want out of an AD carry. 8 for 8 on voting. Even the AI was like, I can't spaghetti something else out here. About as we don't even need to justify it. Why are we doing that? We do not need a justification for that.
I don't know. I'm lost, Yanni. I got none.
I just now think that it's probably a Photic player of the series, right?
It's gotta be.
Said if he gets this player of the game.
Yeah, there we go. See, justice.
Player of the match.
Sweet justice.
Yeah, should have been justice.
Yeah, should have been. And hey, for Photic coming in, I mean, this was a team where I really felt like Awesome was getting leads in lane and pumping out the damage for NIP last split. For this new bot lane to come in and be playing this well, I think that with a better version of Guwon. I mean, NIP was a team that it feels like they've come together quickly with this group of 5, and Weibo, we have not seen them be able to play as a cohesive unit. So seemed like the difference today as we got that 2-0 Yanni, and we'll see if we can see better team play from each of our teams as we've got 2 more matches left on the night.
Yep, EDG versus WE is going to be coming up next. That's going to be covered by Melvin and Grapes, which means that is it for myself and Cubby. We're going to go ahead and take a short break, do a caster swap, and when we return, it'll be Melvin and Grapes taking you into the next series.